Hey, how's it going everyone? Today I'll be showing you some brand new glitches. The first one, I'll be showing you how to create a unraidable base. I'll be showing you how to create an invisible barrier so that you can block out pretty much anyone. And on top of that, I will be showing you a brand new glitch that will help you out with some previous glitches. And there's a lot more that we will be discussing, but first and foremost, if you are a frequent stopper and you stop by this channel quite often but you're not subscribed, do that now. It's completely free. All you need to do is click the subscribe button, then go over towards the bell icon and make sure that you're notified for all. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this. Let's start off by discussing how to create a unraidable base. What you will need to do is acquire a few things. You will need the viewing cage, and you will need to be able to create a PAL box at the beginning of the game. You can do this early game, you can do this later on, it does not matter. We are going to then locate a place to place down the viewing cage. If you're wondering, do they have viewing cages in dedicated servers? No, they absolutely do not, so you might not be able to do this glitch. What you will need to do is then go into single player and try this out. We are going to then break through this barrier. Summon down your mount and then use the pet option while you're climbing. You can then hold down the F button so this way you can mount on top of your mount. Then, once you're on your PAL, you can go right on through. If you see another wall that you would like to break through, you can do the same exact thing. Make sure that your PAL is out, and then try to use the pet option. If you do not do this, you cannot pet your PAL. For example, right there. So I will summon down my PAL, I'll try to pet it. Then what you will notice is I'm going to be able to go through the wall again. This wall breach technique was sent to me by 2 Discord users on the Glitch Unlimited Discord. Shout out to Death Sound and Toad. With that being said, what you will need to do next is create a viewing cage. If you do not have this, most likely you are on a dedicated server. What you will need to do is load up a single player save, then try this out. You will want to create some viewing cages, but do not build them all the way. The reason why is because we are not going to be using the viewing cage. We are only using it for the invisible barrier. If you're unaware, this viewing cage has a really high invisible barrier that's really great for blocking out PALs. For example, right here, you can tell that I'm trying to push forward, but something's blocking me, and that something is the invisible barrier. What I want to show you now is what it looks like when you're on top of it. What I do recommend is that you do make these invisible cages pretty close so that way it blocks out a good portion and you're not falling in between a gap or you have another PAL or an enemy doing the same exact thing. Make sure that everything is pretty tight and knit together and you're good to go. What you can see right here is that I decided to hop on top of my mount, aka PAL. Now you can tell that I'm on top of an invisible barrier. This invisible barrier is from the viewing cage. Continuing on, what I'm going to show you now is a great way to capture any PAL, but this is a more updated method. What you will need to do is locate a place to land and find a boss nearby. You can do this with pretty much any PAL, but for today's video, I do want to show you an example of myself doing this with a boss. What you will see is that I have landed at an area where there is a dungeon. You cannot do this in a dungeon location, but you can do this outside of one. For example, right here, I'm going to head over here towards the sweepa. Then I'll travel over towards the sweepa and create a base. If you do not have a base available, you will not be able to do this glitch. Make sure that you have at least one available. You will need to collect some material as well so that you can use the viewing cage. Now to reiterate, what you will need to do is acquire a viewing cage and a base. You will need to place down the base and then create the viewing cage. What I would like to say is that you probably have seen this method right here previously, but the only difference now is that I'm trying to update you guys so that you do not actually build the viewing cage. Now to reiterate, what you will need to do is acquire a viewing cage and a base. You will need to place down the base and then create the viewing cage. What I would like to say is that you probably have seen this exact method right here in a previous video. If you have, you're probably wondering what's the difference. The difference here is that we're not going to build the viewing cage, instead we're just going to place it down as it is, and you will notice that there is going to be an invisible barrier regardless. Also, just to repeat this as well, you cannot do this on a dedicated server or an official server or pretty much any server in general. What we're going to do now is place down that technology. The only way to place it down is we will need to collect some material nearby. When you do place it down, do not build it, just leave it as it is. For example, right here, I'm trying to build it, which is a no-no. Do not do that. Instead, just leave it blank and then allow the pal to come towards you, or the boss. Once you see the boss pushing towards you, you can then throw down your mount. I'm going to be using the Jet Tragon or the Jet Ragon, whichever one you guys call it as, I honestly don't know. There was a debate, I think, 2 videos ago on what's the correct way to say it. Regardless, throw down your mount and then try to get on top. What you will notice is that you cannot exit off of your mount. What you will need to do is open up the menu here, go towards the second tab where it says Party, locate the mount, and then remove it. When you do remove the pal, make sure that you do pick up the sphere right away or you will end up losing it. Anyways, as you can tell right here, I'm inside the viewing cage. What I could do now is slice away or use my firearm if the boss is sort of merged in. I do want to say that you can use the sword regardless, even if the boss is not merged halfway inside the viewing cage. Once the enemy's health is low enough, you can then throw down your sphere and capture it easily. The only difference between this method and the previous one is that this way you do not need to actually build the viewing cage and it will not cost you any material to repair it. Alrighty, moving along here, we're going to talk about the next glitch, which is going to allow you to get to the end of the dungeon a lot faster than the previous methods that I have shown. You might be thinking, is this a new glitch? No, absolutely not. I have shown this in the past. The only difference here is that I'm going to be showing you more of an efficient and quicker way of getting to the end. The only way to do this is if we use the glitch from previously that I have shown in this video. We are going to summon down our mount, and we're going to try to pet the mount behind the wall. For example, right here. If you notice that the pal is not coming towards you, you can then go down lower and see if the pal will. Mine is a flying type. It should go towards me, but it's not. I'll just grip on the wall and then try to pet the pal. And as you can tell right here, I'm officially out of bounds. What I'll need to do is hop on top of my mount and then fly towards the end of the dungeon. What you will notice is that there's going to be a boss in the middle and there is going to be a chest that's blocked by a barrier. The interesting thing about this barrier is that we can actually get past it a lot faster and easier by using the same exact method as before. And if you're wondering, can you use this to get into the boss room right away? You can, but what I'm going to do is get into the chest location, grab all of the material, then move on and take out the boss or capture the boss. It's entirely up to you and what you want to do. Alrighty, continuing along with this glitch, if you do decide to try it out here, you can, but what I suggest is that you go up a little bit higher. For example, right here, you can tell that my Jet Ragon or Jet Tragon went straight up there. Yeah, okay guys, I do not know the official way of saying it. There is just gotta be some person out there that's able to tell us what exactly the right way of saying it is. Anyways, just merge through the wall. And you can tell right there that there is the chest. We could pick it up, grab all the material, all the items, and we can just continue on. But if you would like to, you can do this as well. Throw your sphere or your pal through the barrier, get on top of it, then activate the boss, go back into the barrier, try to swipe, shoot, do whatever you want to the boss. You can throw a sphere and capture the boss, which is pretty neat, and you can grab this boss easily. You can do this early game if this is something that you would like to do. You do not need to use the pal that I'm using specifically, you can use any flying type. Once you're past the barrier, get off of your pal, lure the boss or the other pals towards you. You can swipe away, shoot them if they do merge through the barrier, and if you want, you can capture them like I mentioned previously. And as you can tell right here, they are not able to damage us or attack us through the barrier, but if you do decide to capture one, you might just merge it inside. And at that point, it might just be a bit difficult, especially if you're a low level, you're going to be annihilated by this dude. And that's pretty much it when it comes down to the glitches. What I do want to talk about next is something that was asked previously in the last video. There was a subscriber that asked about the Jolt Hog glitch. Can you do this with other pals? And I have confirmed that you can do this with the Jolt Hog, you can do this with Fox Spark, and you can also do this with Toko Toko. Well, what I decided to do different here is try out a different pal, and this time it's going to be the Pengullet. If you're unaware of what glitch I'm talking about, I will link a video down below, or you could check out the previous video and see how you can do it. Yet, as you can tell right here, you can see that the Pengullet is not going to become infinite like the previous ones like Fox Spark or Toko Toko or even the Jolt Hog. You cannot do this with this one, but you can do it with those other ones. Hopefully this answers that question. If you're one of the subscribers that commented last time, let me know down below. Also, if you have any questions about today's video or a previous glitch, go ahead and ask down below. And yeah, this is pretty much the end of the video. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, and if you would like to, join the Discord down below, follow the Twitter, and all that good stuff. Thank you again, and I'll see you all in the next video.